What's up, guys? It's Matt here again, and this week we're going to give you an update on how the Jeep's going because I don't have much time left. Alright, so you'll have to excuse the mess. Tonight's kind of a clean up the shop, straighten things up, put some tools away, and get ready for the next thing. But I have got a really good start in the rear. I've got all the areas in the chassis that weren't welded finished up. I've started building out my structure that's going to support the armor and what's left of the sheet metal. I'm basically keeping the top 2 inches or so with the lip for the soft top. For the race, I'll probably leave the lip off and just have the structure. I've made these pieces here. It's got a big clearance hole on the backside for a socket to get in there and hold the nut. But basically, watch your ears. This, we'll bolt in here. I'll weld some stringers between here and the tube work. To hold it, I'll cap off this to make like a fender, inner fender basically. And then when it's kind of in street mode, I'll take it loose and sandwich the rail for the soft top back in there so I can have the top on the Jeep when I'm driving around town and to work and stuff. The fuel cell mount is also done. I used more of this kind of like 1 inch by 2 inch rectangular tubing. The steel shop had a whole pile of that stuff on sale for scrap price, and it was going to work really good for what I needed to do, so I scooped up a bunch of it. But it's basically a piece of that up here at the rear of the fuel cell. Made some little tabs to bolt it down to. This comes up and is captured here, and then on the sides it's got some angle iron to keep it from sliding around. I made some stops for it up here too. It sits on top of the cross tube for the sway bar, rear sway bar, and then again some little angle iron tabs up here that'll bolt down to. It left me a little bit of room in there to snake a firewall in. I wanted this kind of as far forward and low as I could get it. In the rear, what's left of this area back here between the structure and up here, kind of where the links are for clearance, they come up above the top of the tubes actually at full bump. But I'm going to build a nice aluminum kind of tool storage, fluid storage area with a lid on it, and then the spare tire will be above that. Currently the spare tire mounts on poly bushings like you would get in like a cross member kit. So the plan is I'm going to keep those mounts, keep the tire carrier kind of hinged. I might actually just take and duplicate this setup up here on this bar with some pins, and that way I can flip the tire carrier up or down depending on the situation or what's going on or what's easier. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on right now in the rear. The driver's side is done, it's figured out. I've got a lot of the pieces cut and drilled and fit and ready to weld. Passenger side is next, but right now I'm holding off on getting all that in place because the roll cage back here, I need to sand it down a little more. I'm going to weld it as well as bolt it. It was a bolted in cage previously with the rock sliders, or sorry, the both sides going in. The cage is going to be welded and tied to the chassis and the body. So I didn't want to cut and refit and do a bunch of tube work back here The cage is already tagged in. I don't plan on yard selling this thing at any speed at all. I'm just going to finish, but be welding these in, probably gusseting it a little bit more as I brace up the structure back here for the sheet metal to mount to. All right, so one more awesome piece of news this week. Raceline Wheels officially came on as our first sponsor to help us out in this this whole endeavor. I've been running Racelines on the Jeep since I've had it. It was what Jay ran. It's what he runs on his 4400 car. They're awesome wheels. We've never had problems with them. I actually, the first time I ever took the Jeep out wheeling, got a flat. Didn't have a spare with me. It was my own fault. I knew better, but figured it was going to be an easy day out. So didn't bring one, didn't have anything to change it with. So I actually drove about 2.5 miles out of the woods on a completely flat tire. The wheel held up great, didn't have any problems with it. Didn't do any damage to it. So really excited to have those guys on board. Really excited to be part of Team Raceline. So just a huge thanks to them. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week. Not a whole lot of action, I know, but lots of progress. It's a lot of work trying to work on the Jeep every night after work and dinner and getting the kid to bed and keeping the wife happy and spending time with her and still making progress on this. It's come a long way. It still has a very long way to go, but I've got a pretty good plan on the steps that need to happen to get it there. The wiring, I know looks like a complete disaster, and it is, but I haven't removed anything other than the connection to the fuel pump. So if it comes down to it, the wiring in here is going to stay, and should fire right up with a battery connection and the fuel pump hooked back up. The plan is right now to get that stuff swapped out for a Holley system on the engine, transmission, and a Switch Pros to run everything else for the race. But we'll see if that happens. I do have a bit of fab work still to do and a lot of maintenance items to check off, like full fluid flush, seals in the axles, joints in the suspension. The shocks are down at CT Raceworks right now getting rebuilt. Excited to get those things back and get this thing up on some springs again. It's been sitting on the bumps for about a month and a half now, and definitely ready to get it back on all fours. The fab work, I'm targeting to have all the fab work done. I know, again, it looks like a lot, but almost everything's been cut and fit and tacked together and ready to go in its place for final welding. So that should go quick. I'm going to have some friends come over and knock out a bunch of stuff with me the next few weekends. So hopefully the next couple of videos of this thing, it'll look quite a bit different and be way closer to getting done. Because like I said, I have 77 days before the lake bed opens. And being in North Carolina, I'm probably leaving about 3 days before that. So I'm down to about 74 or 73 days before I need to be loaded up and ready to go. And with Thanksgiving and Christmas, that's going to fly by. So anyway, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. I don't ask for it, but it does make a huge difference. Especially now that I've started reaching out to sponsors, hearing back from sponsors, trying to let them know what I could offer them. So appreciate all the support. Excited to see what the next couple of weeks look like with this thing, and hopefully we'll be driving it again soon. Later, guys.